Back with daily newspaper analysis of 7th of April. So let's start our discussion for today. These are important topics for today. These are the topics which we shall be discussing in detail, but 3-4 important topics are there which are important for prelims, but not much detail is required for those topics. So I will just list down those topics, 3 or 4 important. You can just go through briefly in 2 minutes. So 3 topics we shall be discussing in detail, rest 3-4 topics you can read by yourself. Yes, first topic is about the stagflation. So this topic was recently in news because of the West Asia conflict. So that's why economy worldwide is facing this issue of stagflation. Second important article is about the Kalpakkam fast breeder reactor. So very important points will come out for the prelims, as well as this is important for mains also. And third important article is about the tar balls. Finally, we shall be discussing a practice question for which you have to give the answer in the comment section. So let's quickly start with our first important topic, that is the stagflation. So the context is because of the ongoing West Asia conflict. This conflict has triggered the price shock because of the shortage of the supply, and this is leading to the fears related to stagflation. So from exam point of view, what all things are important? First important thing is about the concept of stagflation only. So here for UPSC, what all things are important? First is the concept of stagflation. And second important thing what you must know is that what are the factors affecting stagflation, because these kind of factors can be easily asked in prelims. UPSC can give a simple statement, UPSC can give 3 or 4 situations, and it can ask which of the following conditions can lead to stagflation. So basically for us, what important is about the static part of the stagflation. You don't need to go about any politics or about the current news. So what is the meaning of stagflation? So the meaning of stagflation is, see, you can break down it into 2 terms. First is stagnation, and second is inflation. So when we combine stagflation and inflation, we reach the situation what we call as stagflation. So stagflation is a rare and challenging economic condition. Why it is rare? Because generally we say that slight percentage of inflation is very good for any economy. Why? Because small percentage of inflation shows that your economy is growing. The people are earning more money. If they are earning more money, they are spending more money, and their money is being spent in the economy also. So a bit percentage of inflation is good for the economy. Now, stagflation is a condition where inflation is also high, but it is not leading to economic growth. At the converse, it is leading to stagflation. So this is the meaning of stagflation, that is stagnation and inflation. So please focus on the keywords. They can be directly given in the exam. It is characterized by simultaneous occurrence of stagnation of economic growth, high unemployment, and high inflation. So 3 things are the characteristics of stagflation. First is the high stagnation, that is the recession. Second is the high unemployment, and third is the high inflation. Please remember these 3 keywords for the exam. They can be directly given by the UPSC. Now, let's understand this in this way. First of all, we shall be discussing the point, then I will come back to the graph. So now we are discussing that what are the situations in which the stagflation will occur. So we are discussing the situation now. So first important factor about the stagflation is it arises from a negative supply shock. So when we are talking about the West Asia conflict, so there is negative supply shock of the oil and natural gas, of the other petroleum products. So this is a classic condition of the stagflation, because at present we are facing the supply crunch, and hence stagflation will occur. So here in the normal economy, prices and quantity move along a curve. And what is that curve? See, this is the demand and supply curve. So when we talk about the normal conditions, so under normal conditions, if we talk about, this is a price and this is quantity axis. So in normal conditions, this is a supply curve. As you can see, supply curve shows that prices and quantity are directly proportional. So here also we can see this is a supply curve. This is a supply curve. That means prices and quantity are directly proportional. Meaning of this is, for example, if in 100 rupees, the producers were giving earlier 10 quantities, then if you increase the price to 200, they will increase the quantity to 200. So this is the meaning of this. This is the meaning of directly being the direct relationship, that whenever the price of the products increases, so the supply will also increase. What is the reason for that? The suppliers will be benefiting, no? Because if I am increasing the price and demand remains the same, then suppliers will only benefit. So whenever the price will increase, the supply of the products will increase. Hence, there is direct relationship between the price and quantity if we talk about the supply. So it says, in normal economy, prices and quantity move along a curve. However, during a shock, the entire supply curve shifts to the left. That means, see, this was the normal condition. Under normal condition, for example, P is a particular price. So at particular price, the factory owners were supplying a particular quantity. Now, when supply shock happens, no, so this curve shifts to the left. So now this is the final supply curve, that is S1. So please remember it for the prelims also. Whenever supply shock happens, so supply curve shifts to the left, and whenever supply surplus happens, so supply curve shifts to the right. So at present we are talking about the stagflation, and the reason for that is the supply shock. Hence, please remember this, that supply curve will shift to the left. Now, so this we understood, that the entire supply curve will shift to the left. So this means that at the same price level, producers can only supply a small quantity of goods. So now please compare from here. For example, this was the normal supply situation, SO. So at present, at price P1, the producers were supplying quantity XO. Now, when there is a supply crunch, that means the quantity reduces. For example, so when the supply quantity reduces, that means the curve is now shifting to S1. So now can you see that if we talk of the same price, then at the same price we will be getting some other quantity, we can call it as X. So now at the same price, because the supply shock is there, so you are getting the less quantity. So this is the overall thing which is characterized in the stagflation. So this shift means that at the same price level, the producers will supply small quantity of goods. The result is a new equilibrium where the prices are higher, but the actual output growth is lower. So see, please understand the concept of equilibrium also. In the demand supply curve, equilibrium is a point where the suppliers are agreeing to supply at a particular quantity, and the people are agreeing to take that product at the particular price and the particular quantity. So here it will lead to shift in two things. First, the supply curve will shift to the left. Second thing is the equilibrium will also shift to the left. So see, this was the first equilibrium curve. That means at this quantity, the people were demanding the quantity at this price. But because of the supply shock, now at this quantity, the suppliers are giving at this price. Now, let's discuss the factors impacting the stagflation. So first important factor we already discussed, that factor is the energy supply disruption. That means if the supply of any product is stopped, then it will create this kind of situation in the industrial activity. It will stop the industrial activity. Second important thing is about the input cost surges. That means if the cost of input will increase. And why it will increase? Because there was shortage in the supply of raw material, like the petrochemical feedstocks, raw materials, etc. Third important thing, which can be the factor, will be the supply chain breakages. So supply chain breakages can be because of variety of factors. Important factors are like the war and the geopolitical tensions. So again we can give the example of the recent West Asia conflict. And last but not the first priority will be the monetary policy lag. That means if the central banks of any country are not taking the quick steps or the steady steps, then also stagflation can occur. Okay. Now, this was a PYQ of 2011. So, this PYQ was asking that economic growth is usually coupled with. That means if economic growth is happening in any country, then what is the most likely thing which can happen? So, either it is deflation, inflation, stagflation, or hyperinflation. So, this type of questions are asked in UPSC. And second thing which you have to remember here is that you have to know about all these three terms also: deflation, inflation, and hyperinflation. So it's a homework for you that please read about all these terms, and if possible give your answer in the comment section briefly, that what is the meaning of deflation, what is the meaning of inflation, and what is the meaning of hyperinflation, how these three are different from each other. Okay, so I think we have discussed everything about the stagflation, that what is the meaning of stagflation. That means when there is stagnation in the economy and plus there is inflation in the economy. During stagflation, what will happen? During stagflation, the supply curve and the demand supply curve will shift to the left. This is first important thing. Second important thing is the equilibrium will also shift to the left. Now, what is the equilibrium in demand supply curve? Equilibrium is a point where at a particular amount, buyers are accepting to buy and suppliers are accepting to sell. This is the equilibrium point in the demand and supply curve. So it will also shift to the left, supply curve will also shift to the left. And if we talk about opposite, if supply is more, then the curve will shift to the right. Please remember, it can be directly asked in prelims. After that, we discussed about the factors affecting stagflation. So the main factor is the supply chain, the main factor is the supply shock only. Other factors can be related to supply shocks. And last factor, we discussed about the monetary policy line. Okay, so please remember this homework. You have to read about deflation, inflation, and hyperinflation, and you have to tell the differences between these three terms. Now, coming to second important topic, and that topic is the Kalpakkam fast breeder reactor. Very, very important topic for prelims as well as mains, because the context is very strong here. Context is that India has achieved a major milestone in nuclear program, as the prototype fast breeder reactor at Kalpakkam, which is in Tamil Nadu, has attained the criticality. So first of all, we will discuss the important points which are given in the news. From those points, we will extract what all things are important for the prelims. Then we shall be discussing point by point. So first, I will be discussing the news, what the news is saying. So according to news, India's prototype fast breeder reactor at Kalpakkam has attained the criticality, and criticality is a key stage before the full power generation. So from here, what all points are important? First important thing is that what is fast breeder reactor? We must know the meaning. Second important thing is what is the meaning of criticality in fast breeder reactor? Now, the article next says that the reactor is India's first indigenous fast breeder reactor. Very, very important for the prelims. Which is India's first indigenous fast breeding reactor? That is the Kalpakkam prototype fast breeding reactor. Second important thing is this reactor is developed under Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, that is Bhavini. So you have to know the specific acts or specific ministry or know anything about this Bhavini also. So this is also important. So first thing you have to know this, second you have to know this, third you have to know this. Now, about the key features of the prototype fast breeder reactor which are given in the news, maybe you can remember this also, because the capacity, fuel, these things are also very important. So first is about the capacity. So its capacity is 500 megawatt electric. You can remember this for the exam. Very, very important thing is about the fuel, because in any nuclear reactor, fuel is very important. So here mixed oxide MOX is used. It is mixing the uranium and plutonium. So here the mixture of uranium and plutonium is used in prototype fast breeder reactor. And what is the coolant? Coolant used is sodium. So these things are also very, very important. So we will discuss about the pressurized fast breeder reactor. Then we will discuss what is the meaning of criticality. We shall be discussing about the Bhavini, and key features you focus from here only, that what is the fuel used? It is uranium and plutonium. And what is the coolant used? It is the liquid sodium. Now, What is the role of this prototype fast breeder reactor in India's nuclear program? So the article says that it is part of stage 2 of India's 3-stage nuclear power program. So now you have to know about the India's 3-stage nuclear power program also, because since it is part of stage 2, then you must know about the stage 1 also and stage 3 also. So briefly, if we talk about India's 3-stage nuclear power program, so first stage involves the use of pressurized heavy water reactors. Second stage involves the use of fast breeder reactors, and third stage involves the use of thorium based reactors. So this is the brief discussion. Now we shall be discussing from exam point of view. First of all, you must know the meaning of criticality. So see, fast breeding reactors are the nuclear power plants only. So what is the meaning of this statement when we say that any fast breeding reactor has reached to its criticality? What is the meaning of this statement? So criticality means, just a second, a nuclear reactor reaches criticality when sustaining. See, I will explain this. For example, when we talk about nuclear fission, so for example, this is element A and it got splitted into 2 or 3 smaller nuclei, that is ABC. Along with that, it will generate energy, and along with that, it will generate neutrons. So criticality can be achieved when the neutrons lost. That means when a neutron is produced here, so when, for example, one neutron is produced, so this one neutron will again strike any one of the nuclei, and again it will start the chain reaction. So that means one neutron produced, and that one neutron is used to strike the another nuclei, then again one neutron will produce, then it will strike another nuclei, then again one neutron will produce. So what is the meaning of this? One neutron was produced, then it is used in another splitting, so it is lost, again produced, again lost. So now it is becoming self-sustaining. But it can also, no, in some reactions it can also happen, no, that one neutron is striking 2 or 3 nuclei, and hence the chain reaction becomes uncontrolled. So criticality means the neutron produced is equal to neutron lost, and hence now it is self-sustaining. You can understand with the example of candle. For example, if one candle is used to light one more candle, and that one more candle is used to light one more candle, so that firing will be self-sustaining. But now if one candle is used to light 2 or 3 more candles, then the fire will become uncontrollable. So criticality means just one fission reaction is used to fire another fission reaction. It is not becoming uncontrollable. Now let's briefly discuss about the fast breeder reactors. What is the meaning of fast breeder reactors? So fast breeder reactors are nothing but the nuclear reactors. So let's break down. See, fast breeder reactor, what is the meaning of reactor? It is the nuclear reactor. Fast means this nuclear reactor uses the fast moving electrons, and breeder means it is producing more fuel than it is consuming, breeding something to produce extra. So it is the nuclear reactor which uses fast neutrons to produce more nuclear fuel than it consumes during the electricity generation. This is the main concept. Now, fast breeder reactors use fast neutrons to convert uranium-238 into plutonium-239, a fissile material. So see, this is the concept. First of all, you must know the difference between the fertile materials as well as the fissile materials. These I am talking about the nuclear fuel. So fertile materials are the nuclear fuels which as it is can be not used for the nuclear power generation. They have to be converted. They have the potential, but they have to be converted into another form, then they can be used. But fissile materials are the one which as it is can be used for the nuclear power generation. So in fast breeding reactors, what will happen? See, if I talk about the fertile nuclear fuels, so uranium-238 and thorium-232, these are the fertile materials. But if you want to use them in the nuclear power reactors, you have to convert them into fissile form. So uranium 238 we can convert into plutonium 239, and thorium 232 will convert into uranium 233. So these are now fissile material. So what will happen in fast breeder reactors? Uranium 238 will be converted into plutonium 239, which is a fissile material. Now, fast breeding reactors use uranium plus plutonium mixed oxide fuel. This is very, very important for the exam. Which fuel is used? Uranium and plutonium mixed oxide fuel is used for the fast breeder reactors. Now, yes. So here the article is talking about the fuel conversion also. So what will happen in fuel conversion? See, as we know, in nuclear power reactors, first we have the core, and inside the core you have the fuel rods. So inside the core, these fuel rods will be made of the fissile material, and this fissile material will be covered by a blanket. So it is talking about it will be covered by a blanket, and this blanket will be a fertile material. So when nuclear reaction will take place, so this fertile material will be converted into fissile material, and hence we will get more new fuel. So please don't get confused. When we'll be discussing the stages 1 to 3, you will get more idea. Now, coming to the India's 3-stage nuclear power program, very important from exam point of view. So first of all, let us know the background, that why there was a need to create 3-stage nuclear power program. See, the main objective of this nuclear power program is to use the enormous reserves of thorium which India has. So India has around 20%, 25% of thorium reserves of the world. So for example, if we talk about the coastline, so this is coastline of India. And then this are mostly at every coastline you can get the thorium reserves. But if we talk about the recent nuclear fuel which are being used in nuclear power reactors, so they are using uranium. But India holds only 2 to 3% of world's uranium reserves, and hence India has to depend on the other countries for the imports. So this was the main objective, that why not India should use the own thorium reserves which India holds around 25% of the world. So this is the main objective. So as you also know that thorium is a fertile material, it's not a fissile material. So first of all, you need to convert thorium into usability form, then only you can use it in the nuclear power reactors. So that's why India has planned the 3-stage nuclear power program. So in the 3rd stage, thorium will be used. Now, here we are talking about the fast breeding reactors. So fast breeding reactors are used in the stage 2. In the stage 3, thorium will be used. So who gave this concept? So Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, who is considered the father of India's nuclear power program, he gave the concept of 3-stage nuclear power program. And what was the main objective? The main objective was to make use of India's limited uranium reserves and abundant thorium reserves. Now, quickly, let's discuss the concept of stage 1, 2, and 3 of nuclear power plant. So if we talk about, see, first of all, I will discuss the background, the basic concept. See, whenever we use fuel in any whenever we use fuel in any nuclear power plant, it has the combination of fertile fuel as well as fissile fuel. So when the nuclear fission will happen, so the fissile fuel will be converted into energy, and this energy will be used to produce the electricity. And this fertile material will get converted into fissile material. This is the basic concept whenever we use fuel in any nuclear reactor. So what is happening here? This fissile material gets converted into energy, and this fertile material gets converted into fissile material. And this fissile material can now again be combined with fertile material, and this thing can again be used in the nuclear reactor. So what is visible from here? That every nuclear reaction is producing again the fissile material, which is the fissile fuel. So this is the basic concept. Now, let's discuss the stage 1. So in the stage 1, we use the natural uranium. And in the natural uranium, only 0.7% material is the fissile material, which can be converted into energy. Rest 99.3% material is the fertile, which cannot be directly used. So when the nuclear fission happens, 0.7% gives the energy, which can be converted into electricity. And this 99.3% uranium gets converted into fissile form. Earlier it was fertile, now it gets converted into fissile form. Now, how uranium-238 gets converted into fissile form? This is its fissile form. Uranium-238 to plutonium-239. Now coming to stage 2. Now again what we will do, we will combine plutonium-239, which is fissile, and we will combine uranium-238, which is fertile. So again what will happen, this will be converted into form of energy, and this will be converted into fissile fuel. So what is happening here? See, this is the stage of fast breeding reactors. That means you will produce more fuel than you have consumed to produce the electricity. So this is the meaning. Here you used plutonium to produce energy, and uranium-238 again got converted into plutonium-239, and this reaction will go on. That again uranium-238 will be converted into plutonium-239, and when we will have the sufficient inventory of plutonium, combine uranium with thorium, because as you know that in every mix there will be one fissile material, one fertile material. So if you want to use thorium, which is a fertile material, then you will be needing the sufficient inventory of fissile material. So in stage 3, then we will start using the thorium. So what will happen? This thorium-232 will finally get converted into uranium-239. So this is the overall objective. Our main objective is to use the vast reserves of thorium which are present in the coast of India. Now, what will be strategic importance for this? So strategic importance, the obvious, it will reduce our dependence on the imported fuel, because if we talk about uranium, India just have 2 to 3% of uranium reserves, and that too they are not accessible. Second is it will utilize India's vast thorium reserves, very, very important. And it will support India's energy security and low carbon power generation, because the emission of greenhouse gas emissions is almost nil in nuclear power plants. So this is important. Now, briefly, let's discuss about the Bhavini. Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited. So first important thing, it's government company under the administrative control of Department of Atomic Energy. Now please give me answer in the comment section. Department of Atomic Energy comes under which ministry? So here you have to answer about. When we talk about the genesis, so it was incorporated in 2003, and it is a public limited company under Companies Act of 1956. And what are its objective? So its main objective is to construct and commission the fast breeder reactor at Kalpakkam. And second, if in future more fast breeder reactors are being constructed, so it has to look after that also, the construction, maintaining, etc. Okay, so I think we have discussed each and everything. Let me explain criticality once again, because it's very, very important for the exam. So criticality means one neutron is producing, is hitting another nuclei. So one reaction is leading to one more reaction, not 2 or 3. So one reaction leading to one more reaction leading to one more reaction. So it's 111. That's why we call it as criticality. Now, when we reach the situation that one neutron is splitting 2 or 3 nuclei, then it can lead to chain reaction, and then chain reaction can become uncontrolled. Now, let's discuss briefly about the tar balls. So, what is the context for the tar balls? Recently, Center has proposed the first ever tar balls management rules to tackle the marine pollution. So, because of this, the basic concept of tar balls is very important. So, what are tar balls? Basically, tar balls are the small balls or small blobs created by the crude oil. The crude oil which is found floating on the ocean surface. So mainly they are the remnants of the oil which has undergone physical or chemical changes due to environment. See, for example, this is sea surface and this is any oil tanker. Now, when this oil tanker is moving, so some amount of oil got spilled on the ocean surface. Now, this oil will gradually come to the ocean floor. So what will happen in this oil? Some of the substances will be of lighter form and they can get evaporated or they can be dissolved in the water. But some of the substances can get accumulated on the sea floor. Okay, and these will be the main raw material for the tar balls. So before discussing the process, first of all, let's discuss about the chemical composition, because chemical composition can be asked in prelims, that tar balls are composed of 1, 2, 3, 4 options. So first important thing is, since tar balls are made of the crude oil and crude oil is made of hydrocarbons. So important for constituent of tar ball is the hydrocarbons. So primarily heavy high molecular weight compounds like paraffins and aromatics. So first important constituent are the hydrocarbons, and in that too paraffins or aromatics are very important. Second is the asphaltenes. Asphaltenes are also important component of the tars, and they provide the sticky structure, the sticky texture to the tars. Other, if we talk about the impurities, so they are very easy to guess. Impurities like the microplastics, like the shells, etc., etc. Next important point is about the sulfurs and metals, because as you know that in crude oil sulfur component, sulfur amount is there, but there are certain traces of the other harmful metals also, like the nickel and vanadium. So if we revise about the composition of the tar balls, so composition, first important constituent will be the hydrocarbons, and in hydrocarbons also important will be paraffins and aromatics. Second is the asphaltenes. Third is the impurities containing the microplastics, seashells, etc. And finally, we will be having the sulfur and other harmful metals like the nickel and vanadium. Now let's discuss how they are formed briefly. So I think this we already discussed, that tar balls are the weathered form of the crude oil which got spilled at the sea floor. So weathered form means, for example, for a long period of time oil is lying on the sea surface and sea floor. So over a period of time temperature will act, winds will act, and it will convert its form. So that's why we call as weathering. So first of all will happen, oil will get released from the ships and oil tankers, oil will get released. Next thing will happen, the evaporation and dissolution. As I have already discussed, the lighter components of oil will get evaporated and the heavier components, which are very heavy, they will get settled at the sea floor, and finally they will get emulsified. They will be accumulated in a balls form. Finally, what will happen? For example, these balls are produced at the sea floor. Finally, the water waves, the winds will act on these balls and lighter forms will get detached. And finally, we will be having a very solid material which cannot be weathered further. And these are called the tar balls. So these tar balls can be easily carried by the sea waves to the shore, where the animals can eat them and it can cause poisoning. So what are the implications? Implications are on the seabirds, fish, sea turtles, etc. Because of the ingestion of these tar balls, it can lead to poisoning. Also, if seabirds are affected by tar balls, it can impair their ability to fly or to swim. Second important implication is on the coral reefs and the seagrass beds, because sometimes corals can be destroyed also because of these tar balls. And third impact, the aesthetic value, because if everywhere you see the tar balls, it will reduce the impact of that aesthetic scenery. Now a practice question for you. So practice question here is about the fast breeding reactors. So first statement is, they produce more fissile material than they consume. Second, they use slow neutrons for the fission. And third is, they are part of third stage in India's 3-stage nuclear power program. So now please go through the question once again. Please go through the content which we discussed about fast breeder reactors, and then try to answer and give your answer in the comment section. Now, yes, these were the topics which I was talking about. So not much has to be discussed. First topic is about the enigmatic species. What are enigmatic species? And please read at least 3-4 examples. Second news was about the calcium carbide found in the mangoes. So here you have to focus on the calcium carbide. That what are the applications of calcium carbide in the fruit industry, in the fragrance industry, etc., etc. Because UPSC asks questions on the, you have to read about the environmental impacts of sand mining, because it has already been asked by the UPSC in prelims. Next, you have to read about the sand itself, that whether sand is a major mineral or minor mineral, it is covered under which act, etc., etc. So I think in this way we covered holistically the important news of 7th of April. So now if you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. As I think we discussed each and everything. Uh, okay, then I think that's all from my side for today, and have a nice day. Thank you.